Most people think power comes from being good. That's the first mistake. Because over 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli wrote something so disturbing, it was banned, feared, and misunderstood for centuries. Not because it was wrong, but because it was too accurate. He didn't describe the perfect leader. He described the one who actually wins. And once you understand what he saw, you start noticing it everywhere, even today. But don't jump ahead, because if I tell you who this is really about right now, you'll miss the pattern. And the pattern is everything. Machiavelli believed something most people still refuse to accept. People don't follow truth. They follow perception. Let that sink in. Not truth, perception. Which means, if you can control what people see, you can control what they believe. And if you can control belief, you can control power. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable, because this isn't theory, this is strategy. Machiavelli said a leader must learn how not to be good. Not evil, not cruel, just willing. Willing to do what others won't. Willing to say what others avoid. Willing to break rules that everyone else is still following. And here's the twist most people miss. That kind of leader doesn't look weak. They look strong, even when they're not, because strength is a performance. Think about that. If confidence looks real, people treat it as real. If dominance feels real, people respond as if it is. And suddenly, reality doesn't matter as much as the image. Now pause, because this is where everything flips. Machiavelli said a leader must be both a lion and a fox. The lion scares enemies. The fox avoids traps. But here's what he didn't say directly. The fox is more important, because strength without strategy gets destroyed. So the most dangerous leader isn't the loudest one. It's the one who knows exactly when to be loud and when to stay silent. Now let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a leader who dominates attention? Someone people can't stop talking about, whether they love them or hate them? That's not luck, that's power. Because attention is the new currency. And Machiavelli understood this before media even existed. He knew conflict creates visibility, and visibility creates influence. Which means, if people are constantly reacting to you, you're already winning. Now here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. Machiavelli said it's better to be feared than loved, if you can't be both. At first that sounds extreme, but think about it. Love is unstable. It changes. It depends on mood, emotion, expectation. Fear? Fear is consistent. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't disappear overnight. And that's why it works. But here's the part no one talks about. Too much fear destroys you. Too little makes you irrelevant. So the real game isn't choosing one, it's controlling both. And very few people can do that. But the ones who can, they don't just lead, they dominate. Now don't miss this, because this is the moment everything connects. Machiavelli didn't write about one leader, he wrote about a pattern, a repeatable formula, a system that appears whenever the conditions are right. And once you see that system, you start recognizing it in the modern world, in speeches, in headlines, in the way certain figures rise faster than expected and stay relevant longer than anyone predicted. And here's the twist you've been waiting for. Because by now you've probably been thinking of someone. Someone who breaks rules. Someone who says things others wouldn't dare to say. Someone who turns criticism into attention, and attention into power. You already know the name. But before we say it, understand this. If it feels obvious now, that's exactly the point. Because Machiavelli's ideas don't create these leaders. They explain them. And the moment you understand the explanation, you can't unsee it. So let's finally say it. One of the most modern examples people point to is Donald Trump. Not because he studied Machiavelli, but because many of his strategies reflect the same pattern. Dominating attention, controlling narrative, turning opposition into visibility, breaking norms, and benefiting from it. Now stop. This is where most videos get it wrong. They turn this into opinion. But this isn't about liking or disliking anyone. It's about understanding the mechanism behind power. Because whether you support him or not, the strategy is still working. And that's what makes it uncomfortable. Because it forces a deeper question. Are these leaders shaping people? Or are people choosing leaders who reflect what they already want? Machiavelli believed it's both. Leaders don't create human nature. They exploit it. They understand fear, desire, anger, hope, and they turn those emotions into momentum. Now here's the final twist. Machiavelli wasn't trying to make the world worse. He was trying to explain why it already is the way it is. He wasn't saying, this is how leaders should behave. He was saying, this is how leaders succeed. And those are two very different things, because one is ideal, the other is reality. And reality always wins. So when you look at modern power today and something feels off, unusual, almost calculated, maybe it's not new. Maybe it's just something we were warned about a long time ago. Not about a person, but about a pattern that repeats again and again and again. And now that you've seen it, the real question isn't whether Machiavelli was right. It's whether we're still following the same script without even realizing it. Subscribe